The Magic Show is brought to you by StarCityGames.com, and check this out. I have this really cool Magic Show playmat that just got released. And I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but it is awesome. And me and Pete Heffling from StarCityGames.com have been working on this for a while to give you the ability to support the show and have something cool to show for it. This type of support allows me to buy equipment and go to different shows and places and bring you more cool stuff that you enjoy week in and week out. So I've been doing this for a couple years, get plenty of people asking me, you know, how can I help you? How can I support the show? Well, this is it, ladies and gentlemen. Check out StarCityGames.com and pick up your Magic Show playmat today.
Hi, this is Zach Hill, and you're watching The Magic Show with Evan Irwin on StarCityGames.com.
You've been packing your bags for the 10th time. You've been up on the roof again. So you're buying your time.
Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of The Magic Show. This week we're going to wrap up our look at the incredible and exciting Magic 2010 core set. Some overpowered beasties have proven their worth, and we'll take a look at what you can expect from your new M10 fueled metagame. Let's go! So last week we left off covering some black goodies and a green metagame stomping, but we're not quite through with those black cards yet. The card I want to cover last week but couldn't is Rise from the Grave. Now, this is an excellent Zombify upgrade for two reasons. One, the name is just fantastically flavorful. There's zombifying something, and then there's making that monster rise from the grave. Fantastic. The second is that for another mana, I can now return any creature from any graveyard. This makes cards like Thoughtseize that much more powerful, and it makes your removal that much more potent. I'd suggest getting some 4-ly copies of this card, as it will be useful for some time. Next up, I'll briefly touch on the StarCityGames.com official spoiler, Cemetery Reaper. Yes, this is the Zombie Lord for the set, and it's obviously super fun with a bunch of undead guys. But there's another aspect to this card that's important. Just like Rise from the Grave, Cemetery Reaper can remove creature cards from any graveyard to create zombies from. This means that the Reveillard players' Muldrifters and Glenelendra Archmages will die horrible deaths, while Cemetery Reaper gets all the goodness. Also remember that you can use Cemetery Reaper on persist cards like Kitchen Finks and the aforementioned Glenelendra Archmage, while their persist ability is on the stack, making him even better. This is a card that makes your removal that much better and lets you win in creature attrition wars. A much better card than being just a Zombie Lord, in my opinion. Moving on to red, the big news is that we have 3 Incredible reprints coming. Lightning Bolt, Ball Lightning, and the now mythic and extremely ass-kicking Bogarden Hellkite. Now, many will scoff at this inclusion and telling us that it was only good in Dragonstorm, when I know better. This card was played in Urzatron control decks a few years ago, and nowadays any red-based or even 5-color-based deck looking for a finisher has the Hellkite as an option. And even if it doesn't rock the tournament scene like it once did, it's still one of the coolest and most powerful dragons ever. Oh, and speaking of reprints, here's another that's not been getting much love. Earthquake! Yes, Earthquake, the sweeper/damage dealer that hasn't been seen since 7th edition, is back, and I'm loving it. This should provide a fantastic answer for those fast Elf and Kithkin decks headed our way, and just look at that portal artwork. Awesome. The last card I want to highlight in red isn't a reprint, thankfully. Look at Magma Phoenix. Yes, rising from the ashes to kick your ass, this Phoenix is the real deal. It provides an incredibly powerful blocker against any sort of aggro or rush deck, able to sweep the most powerful Elf, Kithkin, or Jund army away just by dying. This sort of flame break on a stick isn't the flashiest and most powerful rare ever, but it's an important tool for the decks that need it, and not having something silly like use this ability only during your upkeep on its return clause is definitely appreciated, and pumps its power level even higher compared to similar cards like Shard Phoenix. Moving on to green cards, we've covered the awesome Great Sable Stag, that ironically was revealed on Friday as a purely development-driven card that both myself and Patrick Chapin mused on. But that's not the only hit amongst them. A card I really like in Magic 2010 from green is Awakener Druid. This is a card that takes some time to get your head around. Yes, at the end of the day, it's a 3-mana 1/1. Yes, your opponent could simply Doomblade your forest, knocking you back a mana and leaving you with a 3-mana 1/1. However, if your opponent has, say, Lightning Bolt, now they have to waste their awesome removal/direct damage spell on a stupid 3-mana 1/1. This is powerful thinking that could allow you to keep your 4/5 forest for much longer than you really should be able to. Another thing to note is that this 3 mana 1/1 is actually 5 power for 3 mana. Sure, it's spread across the dude and the forest, but still, if they have no blockers, you get in there for 5. A very nice card, I think. Another card I'd like to highlight, well, I've already actually highlighted it. It was my spoiler, Master of the Wild Hunt. Now, I've already told you how much I like this card, but I think some history is great here as well. Master of the Wild Hunt is sort of like the 2009 model of Master of the Hunt. Comparing these two are like comparing a Model T and a Ferrari. One is getting you the fame and sense of power you desire, and the other, it belongs in a museum. And with a set like Legends that varied so wildly from stupidly overpowered mana drain to, well, Master of the 4 mana banding 1/1s, it's quite the change to see this card moving on up to the M10 side of things. But the Wolves no longer have banding. This simply reverts to the first rule about banding. You do not talk about banding. I could go on, but, rule number 1. The last card I want to highlight is a fixed regrowth. Say hello to Nature's Spiral. This is a card that isn't getting much love, so allow me to give it some. I think this card is bonkers. The main reason? It returns Planeswalkers. Those dastardly devils of devastating decadence have been ruling standard ever since their debut in Lorwyn, and once your opponent finally gets rid of it, this sorcery gets it right back. Now, I hope we all realize why Regrowth can't be reprinted verbatim. It's too dangerous for combo decks. The ability to get back Mind's Desire and Extended, or hell, any card in the Mind's Desire deck, is just too dangerous. But a permanent? I mean, come on, the only permanents combo decks dealing nowadays are mainly cascade spells, like Bloodbraid Elf, which is a permanent. Oh boy. Take a quick look at this insane cascade grinding combo deck that debuted in Patrick Chapin's article this week. Rest assured, if you give a mechanic like Cascade to the Magic community, they are going to find a way to abuse it, no matter how ridiculous it may seem. This deck cascades into a sanity grinding every time, which could, at its most ridiculous, mill 50 cards in one go. Now, that would mean flipping just Gas Lords of the Fugue and Godheads of Awe and so on, but the potential is there, and the effect is incredibly crushing. Beware of this powerful combo deck headed your way in the coming weeks and months. My point? Nature's Spiral is not half as bad as you may think, and could very well be a fantastic tool in all sorts of decks, even the combo ones. As we wind down, I want to touch on the artifacts in this set. Firstly is the return of the mighty and powerful, and hey, mighty powerful, Darksteel frickin' Colossus. That's right, frickin' is in there because this guy means business. Sure, you have Progenitus to polymorph into, but this guy was there first. He was there when there was no Path to Exile to worry about, and he was there to end games with the polymorph on a stick, also known as Proteus Staff. Oh, the fun we had back in the day turning Guardian Idol into an 11/11 indestructible ass-beating. Fun times. And while he may not rock the tournament scene quite as hard this go-around, you never know what's in Zendikar, and there is nothing wrong with kicking ass on kitchen tables with the baddest artifact creature ever printed. Big Platts, aka Platinum Angel, is back, assuring some lowly deck will be blindsided by its existence just when they're sure of victory. Gorgon Flail is absolutely hilarious in its artwork, aka Sling the Medusa, and Pithy Needle remains an awesome and useful answer to just about any permanent whose activated abilities will crush you. Usually, these are Planeswalkers. Lastly, the new duels are still awesome and suddenly making Terramorphic Expanse look really good. Terramorphic Expanse, once thought to be unplayable with 10 Pain lands at your disposal, now ensures you will definitely hit your 2-mana combination on turn 2, a powerful thing in a format featuring, for example, the Watchwolf with upside Kasali Pridemage. Suddenly, Terramorphic Expanse is a card that you won't immediately disregard when designing tournament-bound decks, and I think that's a great thing. What does M10 mean for your upcoming standard? Well, the loss of Seismic Assault means Cascade Swads is dead. The loss of Wrath of God means that aggro decks will see an even larger resurgence. And the loss of Pain lands means that black-white tokens will probably die off due to its already shaky mana base taking a hell of a hit, as might Boat Brew thanks to the lack of Battlefield Forge. It also means that green-white tokens won't have the same guaranteed turn 1 Noble Hierarch turn 2 Spectral Procession thanks to Brushland, so the de facto best deck in the format is up in the air right now. Could the best now be Combo Elves, driven by the powerful and versatile Elvish Archdruid? Could it be Black's time to shine, as it now has Sign in Blood, Duress, Tendrils of Corruption, and Doomblade? Will green ramp decks get there with Great Sable Stag, Garrick Wildspeaker, and Nature Spiral? Or is white going to simply dominate once again with the now confirmed but what in the hell were they thinking Baneslayer Angel, Honor of the Pure, Harm's Way, and Captain of the Watch? We'll see what happens at US Nationals, where yours truly will be there talking to the biggest names in American Magic and getting their thoughts on M10 and our recent loss of both Wrath, combat damage, and the defined format as we know it. I'll see you in 7 days, but until then, get yourself to a Magic 2010 pre-release and embrace the goodness of our game's once-in-a-decade rules refresh. I, for one, am thrilled at the power level, flavor, and execution of our most recent core set, and I think you will be too. So until next time, Magic players, this is Evan Irwin, tapping the cards so you don't have to.
I worked on the development team. I think it's going to be a great set. I'm really excited about some of the card choices. I think they'll blow people's minds. Just like, oh, I can't believe we brought that back, or it's just like, wow, that's an awesome new card. At first, I mean, Aaron brought the idea forward, and I was like, I don't know how this will turn out.
The idea of the new cards?
Yeah, the idea of the new cards, the idea of, just mainly the new cards, and also some of the cards we were talking about bringing back. And but he really showed to me that, no, wow, we can really put together an awesome core set that both, brings out the flavor of Magic, just brings out the awesome fantasy. I mean, it is classic Magic fantasy art. I mean, we really want it for people that are walking into a card store to see the art, to see people playing it and be like, wow, that is the fantasy trading card game that I want to be playing.
I always like the fatties.